My name is Larry and the guys I work with are making my life a living hell. My home is my sanctuary, and the only place I can be calm and deal with my psychopath. I sit in my room to let my day pass and my blood pressure comes down. I see flashes of the psychopath I have locked in the box in my mind. I see what he wants to do. I see him getting out and harming anyone and everyone that has done me wrong. He sits in his box and sees my bosses and my coworkers that bully me every day. He sees what it does to me day in and day out. And when I get home at night he sits by and waits for his time to be released upon the world. He wants blood and a lot of it. He shows me the horrific images of what he would love to do to those that have harmed me. I do my best to keep him locked up, but it takes everything that I can summon to do so. When I can get a few hours of sleep he whispers, "Let me out. Let me out." I can feel his rage as he claws at his cage. He wants to kill and will if I can't stop him and keep him at bay. Some of the images he sends out are bloody and barbaric. The images are about going to everyone's house and taking them into the night, for their demise and his pleasure. The images show him nailing these people that have created turmoil in my life, nailing them to the wall one by one. The images show him putting a gag in their mouths. They can see everything that is being done to them but can't scream. As each one of them opens their eyes, the psychopath, my psychopath in the box, slowly skins them alive. When they lose consciousness he wakes them and continues what he is doing until he has extracted the payment in flesh from them. Only when they try to cry out "I am sorry" does he end their torment, and then ends their pain as he cuts off their appendage and super glues one of the others in their mouths before cutting out their heart. As each expires, he forces them to look him in the eye as he tells each one that they should have paid attention when I told them I had a psycho in a box in my mind, and he was hoping to get free. There are other images besides this that my psychopath in the box sends to me. Another image I see in the eye of my psychopath in the box is being at work. He is out of the box and finally breaks free. He jumps over the sales desk, taking each one out in turn. As each wake up they find themselves tied to a table as a small incision is cut into their bellies. He reaches in and starts to pull out enough of their intestine to horsewhip them until they expire. After each is dead he cuts off their heads and uses them for dart practice. It is bedtime and I try to sleep as the psychopath continues to rattle his cage inside my mind. I consciously place another padlock on the cage. It is getting harder and harder to keep him locked up. My psychopath starts to talk to me again, and I try to ignore him as I walk into the kitchen for a drink. I decide to sit at the table in the dark. "Let me out, let justice be served for you," he said in my voice. I needed to keep him locked in my mind even more so now that he is speaking with my voice. I don't know how much time had passed when I realized there was a knife in my hand. I don't know how it got in my hand or why. Somehow, my psychopath had me pick it up from the knife rack. In the darkness, I see the glistening of the knife. It feels like an old friend in my hand. I touch the blade with my finger, feeling the sharpness on my skin. The knife nicks my finger and I see the blood glossy like red paint, and I see him in my mind smiling. Then I realize it is me smiling as I look at my finger and the pool of my essence on the floor. My lifeblood, no, my life force. At that moment I can see my hand plunging the blade into the heart of my enemies. No, maybe somewhere else. I feel a wave of pleasure visualizing the red lake that contains the depleted element. My smile soon fades with the realization of my blood loss as a result of my mental picture. I have stabbed myself in the arm. I walk over to the sink and cleanse the wound and bandage it. As I am doing this I can hear him laughing at me while scratching at his cage. As my wound heals I continue to struggle with my psychopath locked in a cage in my mind. The images continue more and more each night as my stress and blood pressure build up. It is getting harder and harder to find the strength to keep him locked up in his cage. It's just a matter of time for the judgment he is planning, and will use my hand. The psychopath in a cage in my mind will get his justice, but will not be on the news. It is I who will be there and will have to take responsibility for his actions. I often think that maybe I should just let him out and see the show. Then after it is over, I just claim I don't remember anything and plead insanity. Insanity from all the stress that I have been given. Psychosis because it got to be too much. He sits in his cage laughing because he knows that it will be sooner than later when I finally break and hand him the key. He wants to be free to run and rampage. He is just biding his time till then and looks out with his black eyes and his evil hell-like grin, knowing that freedom is just around the corner. Freedom to do what I could not do,